Welcome to Jurassic Room. And I got it that time. So, anyway, my tablet here is charging. Did it pause there for a second? It's weird. Anyway, it's charging so we can do a few reactions tonight. And I know that it's Monday night, so according to Monday night, we do story time. Or wait, do we do story times or movie chats? I can't remember, actually. It was movie chats. I might just move it up. Or, I don't know, hold on. Alright, so it's movie chats day. So I'll choose one of these movie chats to do. Now, movie chats is not the same thing as movie reviews, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and do it for the Jungle Book. There's just a lot of stuff I was thinking of doing, and I was going to do story times today, but I think I'll still do it on Wednesdays, like I said I was going to do. That way my mind's fresh and everything. I'm going to try and start doing it in the mornings now, so that it's not posting in the middle of the night. So, The Jungle Book is one of the best Disney movies I've seen in a long time. It was so much fun. It was dramatic at points, it had a lot of action in it, it was so fun. And let's do a sort of a non-spoiler right now. Non-spoiler. So when I say spoilers, I'll do my rating, and that'll kind of be the sign that I'm about to do the spoiler review. Alright, so, non-spoilers. The characters are great. The voice actors were amazing. Bill Murray was really great as Baloo. Ben Kingsley rocked Bagheera. And Christopher Walken did really good as King Louie. I was actually surprised. Kaa, however, we don't see much of Kaa in the movie, except for what we saw in the trailer. That's sort of a spoiler, so sorry about that. But anyone will tell you that. But Scarlett Johansson was good. Lupita Nyong'o, I'm probably spelling her name wrong. She was awesome as Raksha. She added a lot of the emotion of the movie. What was his name? Nardo Esponzi. Darn it. Aquila was also really good. However, he's not a huge prominent character in the movie, but he's still really good. And a lot of the side characters, I don't know the exact voice names of all the smaller characters, like the pangolin and the little bird and the flying squirrel that's in there. I'm trying to think of any others. Any other actors. I can't really think of any except for the little wolves. Oh, Idris Elba. Idris Elba was probably my favorite part of the movie. He made Shere Khan evil. His voice just adds everything to this movie. He makes Shere Khan look so nasty but intelligent. Kind of like similar to Hold on. Okay, Jeremy Irons. I had to look it up for a second, I forgot. Jeremy Irons with Scar. But, oh my gosh, it's just so good. The visual graphics are amazing for this movie. I mean, as far as I know, everything was digital except for Neil Sethi, which Neil Sethi did really good for a child actor. He had some, I think all child actors had those some points where it's kind of hard to believe him at certain points, but no, he was not bad in the least. He was really good. He dealt with imagining these animals in front of him very well, and he was just really great. He was really good with how he acted and everything. Such as at the ending, I mean, he's really good. He's awesome. He's gonna be really good in movies. Sorry. I'm trying to think of everything. The music is also really good. I remember at the beginning of the movie, I don't consider this a huge spoiler, but we hear the music from the real Jungle Book, like from the beginning sequences of the 1967 film, and you get a lot of that throughout the movie, and it is awesome to hear that music redone for this film. It really is. It's kind of weird because the camera looks a little different today. little fuzzy or something. But man, this movie was great. I'm trying to think. It had some very shocking moments for me. There was only one moment where I just and it got me. Now, I want on a quick note, I did not get to go see Batman vs Superman. We were, but my grandparents were there as well, and we were gonna kind of split off. But everyone kind of also wanted to see Zootopia, but they were gonna go see BVS mainly because they want to see it, but also because I really wanted to see it. But I gave in and said, well, why don't we just sit around we'll watch Zootopia instead, and we'll go, some other time to go see BVS. So I'll either see it next weekend or possibly, if they still have it, the drive-in that I go to. If this drive-in has Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War. And it'd be kind of cool, though, if that were to happen. I think I can wait that much longer. But, to see which one I truly find better, it's going to be Civil War. We all know that Civil War is going to be so much better than BVS. But, anyway, back to the film, or to the Jungle Book. But there's nothing much I can say more. I mean, everything's awesome about this movie. The visuals, the actors, the music, most of all. And the story is really great. It doesn't stray too far from the source material of the '67 film, but it refreshes it in a totally new way. And it's really great to see this. I won't spoil the ending right now. We'll have to wait in a few minutes for a spoiler review. But it all works out far better than it did. I personally think it did in the '67 film. So, my rating for this movie on a Disney scale, 5 out of 5. And I've only done 2 movie reviews, haven't I? No, 3. Star Wars Force Awakens, which I believe I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Jurassic World, which I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. Or no, I gave Star Wars Force Awakens. No, I gave it 4 stars for a few different reasons. 4.5 stars for Jurassic World, and 5 out of 5 for the Jungle Book. So, in some ways, I enjoyed the Jungle Book more than Jurassic World, seeing it for the first time. However, it was really dark at the drive-in. It was hard for me to see some scenes, which I'll explain in just a second. So you got my rating, 5 out of 5. And, I mean, it was just that good, and I cannot wait for it to come on Blu-ray, so I can see it in, its entirety and such great graphics. I gotta check it out and see when. They probably won't release that for a few months, though. About a month. Probably the end of next month, they'll say when the DVD and Blu-ray release will be. But anyway, warning: if you do not want to hear spoilers for this incredibly awesome movie, please just log out and go see it. I mean, it's awesome. It is great. I loved it. And come back here when you see it. So, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Okay, we'll get on with the beginning of this film. We come in, we hear the music, and we're down a river, and then we go on upon the scene of Bagheera and the wolves and Mowgli running together. Mowgli's trying to learn, throughout this movie, he's trying to be taught how to be a wolf. Even when he's being sent to the man village, he's told to continually act like to be a wolf. And Mowgli, in the movie, knows the law of the jungle, or this jungle, and he can build small contraptions, like for gathering water, or for anything like that, but it's frowned upon. Akela tells him not to do his tricks, and Bagheera supports Akela all the way, is a little more harsher with Mowgli, like in the '67 movie. And then we go on, and Shere Khan is right there when they're coming to the Peace Rock. It's like this law of the jungle where when the dry season comes to such a point, if the rock is exposed, all animals can come to this watering hole and drink without any fear of predators. And Shere Khan, and a few minutes later, all the animals are looking at Mowgli as a man cub, not even knowing what he is. And he had this little wolf pup named Gray. He's the runt of the litter, and he's Mowgli's best friend at this point. And then we hear the buzzards, the vultures flying overhead, and that's apparently the sign that Shere Khan is here. And Mowgli ducks behind Akela, and Shere Khan comes out, and Idris Elba is just amazing as Shere Khan. Basically, it's just a whole huge threat, and you can tell that Shere Khan just truly hates Mowgli, but you don't get that feeling more intensely until you get further into this movie. But from then on, you go to the rainy scene in which Council Rock is trying to discuss on what should happen to Mowgli. And Mowgli goes up there and tells them that he is leaving. And you hear Raksha, and man, Lupita Nyong'o did amazing. She brings all of the emotion into this movie. She's just a very great character in this movie, is Raksha. And she just is very firm that he's her cub, and that she does not want him to go. And Bagheera comes forward and says he'll take him to the Man Village, and they go on their way. And that's where it leads on to the grassy scene, or they're going through the jungle into the grassy scene, and Bagheera's telling Mowgli that he needs to go to the Man Village. And in this one, Mowgli is much more willing to go than in the 67 version. He's willing to do what's best for his friends, but he does not like it. He's actually talking to Bagheera, saying whether he can live with turtles or crocodiles and stuff like that. And then you know this scene, and you know that Shere Khan's gonna pop out, but it's still just as intense. And you hear Bagheera saying, "It's not a game. Get down." And Mowgli still is brushing him off. Then boom, Shere Khan comes out. Bagheera starts fighting Shere Khan, and man, I love this fight. Shere Khan and Bagheera. Bagheera looks like he's not even trying, really, because he's much smaller compared to Shere Khan, but he's still putting up a pretty good fight. Shere Khan slaps the crap out of Bagheera and then pursues Mowgli, which Mowgli jumps into this ditch. The water buffalo come in and ram Shere Khan and then down to the ditch and take Mowgli off through the rainy grassland while Shere Khan's left there roaring. Hold on, I want to get something to drink real quick. Anyway, okay, I'm just explaining some of the story right now, and then we'll get on to characters and all that. From there on, there's a mudslide and stuff that happens to Mowgli. He floats down river into the swamp, this swampy area, and is lured up into the trees by these little mongoose that stole his fruit or whatever. And he picks up a huge snake skin, and it kind of makes you think about well, how cool it would be. It kind of reminds you of, makes you think of Titanoboa in some sort of way. Have you ever seen that documentary? And he picks up this huge snake skin. The girth is huge, so you know the snake is big. You know it's caught. He proceeds up the tree, and then you hear Scarlett Johansson just talking. And then she comes down, and her eyes are starting to become hypnotic, and explains to Mowgli that Shere Khan basically killed his father, the Red Flower, or Fire, smacks him into the eye, and that's how Shere Khan lost his eye, and is so scared of the fire that he runs off, and a young Mowgli walks out of the cave only to find Bagheera, who adopts him into the wolf pack. And the whole time you see that she was just coiling around him, like in the 67 version, and trust in me. And before she can get to him, you just hear the roaring of a bear, and all of a sudden she's just tugged off the branch, and then you see you see snippets of the fight between her. You hear her hissing and snapping at Baloo, which you know it's Baloo, and you see a shot where he crunches down on her, and they're just thrashing around, and he tosses her, and unfortunately it was so dark I couldn't see what truly happened to Kaa. But that's about all we get of Kaa in this movie. I don't know if she's dead or not, actually. I really need to see this again to know. I don't know if she just slithered away and to lick her wounds, or if Baloo right out killed her. I don't think Baloo killed her, though. I think she got away. That's my personal thing. So is my mom also agrees with that. But anyway, he blacks out. Then Mowgli wakes up in Baloo's cave. And they go off to find honey. And it's a really fun little moment. He builds a little contraption to get this honey at the top of the thing. And the little side characters, the pangolin and the porcupine and the bird and the flying squirrel are all in this scene. That's about how it's going for a few minutes until they start singing the bare necessities down the river. And it's really good. It's really cool. Because it's not as fun as like the '67 movie, but it's realistic, but still fun to some degree. And then you hear the brushing of the branches, and Baloo gets Mowgli out of the water, and out pops Bagheera, which he's not too happy to see Mowgli with Baloo, but he's still grateful that he's alive. Mowgli's excited to see what Bagheera thinks of what he's done for Baloo, and he knows that he'll probably get in trouble for this. And you still see Bagheera as being loving, but still very strict at this part. And you can tell when he sees the contraption, he's just ticked. And then when they get into the cave, he finally comes loose and tells Mowgli that he needs to get ready. They're leaving. And then that funny part where he tells him that bears don't hibernate in the jungle. And Baloo convinces Bagheera that it's too late to travel anyway, so they just might as well stay and get some rest. And it goes straight to that night. And you hear the elephants in the background. I forgot to mention this part. Before the grassland scene, you see the elephants. And you see the baby elephant. But in this version of the film, the elephants don't talk. That's a spoiler. Elephants don't talk. They're respected as these sort of construction kings, or lord, something like that. They're royalty in the jungle. They built it, is what Bagheera says. They made the jungle. And it kind of, at the end, I'll explain in a minute what I think that means. But anyway, Mowgli runs off to check, and he bows to the elephants, who you have to bow. And he looks, and he sees something in the mud pit. He goes back and he starts cutting vines and stuff like that, and you kind of figure out what's happening here. And Bagheera wakes up, and Baloo wakes up, and they go and they watch him, and he teaches the elephants, and they pull out the baby elephant. I forgot his name in the '67 version, though. If it was Junior or something like that. But anyway, they pull the baby elephant out, and that was probably one of my favorite moments of the film, right there. It just felt so fun, and it was really good. A good feeling, really. And Baloo is just, well, why do you want him to change so badly? Don't you know he's special? And Bagheera is all, I raised him, I know he's special. But a tiger's chasing after him, and finally he tells Baloo which exact tiger, Shere Khan, and Baloo's then on Bagheera's side almost 100%. To a point that when they get back to the cave, he warns off Mowgli. This is awfully long, I'm sorry y'all, but if you really want to see the full thing, you got it, sorry. But anyway, Mowgli runs off, kind of just sad, and the monkeys take him away. You know what's going to happen monkeys take them away. Bagheera and Baloo are in quick pursuit. They cross the river together, and then the monkeys climb up the cliffside, and Bagheera and Baloo climb up the mountain, which Baloo can't climb, but it's a really good scene. And Bagheera is actually very supportive of Baloo in this specific scene, which is not like it was back in the 67 version. He's actually very supportive, telling him he can make it. And then we get on to the Monkey Temple, Bangalore or something like that. That's not... I can't remember the exact name of the temple, but anyway, we see King Louie, the Gigantopithecus, which I cannot believe that they did this. I thought it was really cool they did it, but they're all wrong at one point. Orangutans did live in Asia at one time, but they went extinct in Asia. But it is cool that we got Gigantopithecus, which is an extinct ape. And we get Christopher Walken, which he was really good as King Louie. He brings a lot of the nastiness and just greedy, but kind of fun feeling to him. And he's more like a mobster in this version. And he's much more aggressive. He's willing to make deals, but he's not willing to just accept that Mowgli can't make fire. And he starts going on with the song, which he does it to his own way, which is really good how he did it. Won't we like you, ooh, ooh. And he makes it sound more like a monkey singing it, or a giant ape. And it's really good this whole time. And then finally, when he's finally losing it, Baloo walks in with the plan after they had climbed the cliff and distracts him while Bagheera goes around and gets Mowgli. And then one of the monkeys sees them, and they just run off into the courtyard. Mowgli gets away, and then Bagheera and Baloo stand to fight against the monkeys, which is really cool. You just see them swatting, and Bagheera's biting down and swatting at all the monkeys. Baloo is roaring. There's this one scene where they all tackle Baloo. And then all of a sudden, King Louie just rises up from his throne and goes out through the temple and pursues Mowgli. And at one point it's more like a cat and mouse thing. Then when he finally catches Mowgli, just goes, "I gotcha," and he starts smashing the pillars, kind of being stupid about it, but you know, I mean, he's smashing them, and there's finally a point where Mowgli jumps out of that one part when you see King Louie's big hand, and he's just crunching through the temple wall trying to get at Mowgli, and all of a sudden the temple starts to crumble, and King Louie, you know, he looks up, and then you go to a shot where it's just the temple falling down, and there's just a horrified look on both Bagheera and Baloo, and the monkeys try to rescue King Louie, which it's unknown whether King Louie's dead or not, but I think it's safe to assume that he's probably gone. But you see that Mowgli is fine, and I forgot, guys, I forgot to tell you this. Earlier, I forgot to mention that Shere Khan visits the Wolf Clan and talks to Akela. And Akela is trying to be more peaceful, trying to say that he's left the jungle, there's no quarrel between us, and it seems like Shere Khan, you know something's gonna go wrong because of how calm he is. And he seems like he's in agreement. And all of a sudden, roars, turns around, bites Akela on the neck, and you know what's happened. And then he just throws Akela's body off of the rock and yells, "Have I got your attention now?" And it is so intense. You just want the wolves to go after and kill Shere Khan for this. And Raksha is just mortified. And she gets all the wolf pups in there. And Shere Khan just finally says he wants Mowgli gone. He wants that man cub found and all that. Well, skipping back to this point with Bagheera and Baloo and Mowgli. Mowgli is on the other side of this ravine. And King Louie had told him before everything that Akela was dead. Shere Khan killed Akela. And in rage, Mowgli asks Bagheera, is it true, is Akela dead? And Bagheera is more apologetic, saying, we were going to tell you. Mowgli just storms off into the jungle, and Baloo and Bagheera try to follow him. It's at night now. Mowgli runs into the man village and takes, because they were at the man village a little earlier with Baloo, he showed him where it was. Back to here. He takes a lantern of fire and starts running back into the jungle, and sparks fall off, and they start catching the jungle on fire. He doesn't even know yet. When he finally gets to Peace Rock and he's calling out Shere Khan, Shere Khan comes out and says, but I'm not the one they're afraid of. And Mowgli just looks around. He sees the jungle on fire, and all the animals are now just afraid of him. Shere Khan's gloating about how he knew that Mowgli would one day become a man and everything. And Gray, you see the little wolf pup is scared. And, well, Shere Khan gives him the choice, sort of unknown choice, whether you can be brave and face me, or you can look like a coward and kill me. But Mowgli throws the lantern into the water, showing that he is not a dangerous man, and explains that I am not afraid of you, I am Mowgli of something something, and this is my home. And you hear Shere Khan, and you know he was expecting this. That was the stupidest thing you could have done. Then all of a sudden, Mowgli starts exclaiming the law of the jungle, and you kind of get the... Then Baloo joins in, then you kind of get going like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen. Then Bagheera starts narrating off, and they're all starting to look madder and, you know, more ready for this as they're saying it. And then Raksha, she looks like she's the most ready for this. She's taking lead of the whole pack now. And they're all just going about the law of the jungle, and Shere Khan's getting madder and madder. And then, boom, the fight commences. Baloo starts running at Shere Khan, gives a battle roar, runs at him. He's the first to tackle Shere Khan. Shere Khan's just thrashing and biting Baloo, smacking him. And the fight goes on a few minutes. It's just epic. You hear nothing but bear roars and chuffing from Shere Khan, roaring. And then Shere Khan bites Baloo on the neck. And it basically takes out Baloo for now. Baloo's just done. Then the wolves come in, and they start attacking Shere Khan. They start biting the crap out of him, strength of the pack, and Mowgli tries to join in. And Bagheera takes Mowgli down and tells him, and Mowgli wants to join in on the fight. He wants to fight like a wolf. Bagheera just says, you're not a man, you're not a wolf, so don't fight him like one. Go fight him like a man. And Mowgli just runs off towards the fire, and Bagheera joins in on some of the fight. They'll stall him. Then when Shere Khan kind of breaks free from the fight for a second, he sees Mowgli, and he starts taking off for him. And when he gets far enough, well, Bagheera gets up from being put down, and he starts starting off. And you see Bagheera is fully ready this time. I mean, he is far faster than Shere Khan. This is my favorite moment in the whole movie, is when he's just booking it and then just tackles Shere Khan. And this fight is far longer than the one during the grassland scene, the original, earlier. And they're just fighting. You see that Bagheera's putting a much harder fight than he was before. And he's just going full nasty as Shere Khan. Just biting him. Then finally Shere Khan takes Bagheera down. Doesn't kill him, takes him down. And then pursues Mowgli again. Mowgli is attempting to set a trap in the dead tree that you see earlier in the film. And Shere Khan finally catches up to him and breaks one of his tricks, or, you know, to get across, and pursues him. Fast forward, he's all the way up into the tree. He's like, did you really think you would survive this long in the jungle? And he just starts claiming how you're gonna put up a fight like your father did and stuff like that. And Mowgli just turns around, is ready to face Shere Khan, and Shere Khan is antsy because he knows he's been duped because of this branch breaking, and Mowgli's just staring him down. Then Shere Khan, kind of knowing what's happening, he jumps, lurches out at Mowgli. Mowgli dodges him onto a vine while he lands on the end of the branch, and he's able to jump again as the branch breaks off, but he can't hold on, and he falls into the fire. And that's the end of Shere Khan. Mowgli comes back with the elephants this time. And this is kind of what I thought. The elephants start building a dam. Everyone is thankful to see Mowgli's alive, and the elephants start building a dam, which is kind of what I was thinking. They built the jungle. So I gotta see it again to be sure, but I think they built the jungle to be fireproof. As silly as it sounds, because it says in the film that wherever their trunks go, the rivers go, and it's kind of the legend of the elephants. Well, they built a dam, and it flooded the jungle and ceased all the whole wildfire. And then Mowgli just goes off with them for a little bit. And then it goes to morn, or a little while later, during the daylight, and you hear this great triumphant music. Na 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 na. And it's really great. And you see Mowgli's running with the wolves, and Bagheera's tagging along behind. He's fully embracing that he's a man and not a wolf, but he's still playing with the wolves. And they go back, and Raksha is now the pack leader, just telling them, look alive, because Mowgli's here. And then Bagheera and Mowgli climb a tree, watching the sun go down. He's exclaiming the law of the jungle, or law of the pack. And then all of a sudden Baloo comes down and sits on the tree with them, saying he could get used to this life, while Mowgli's chuckling along. And that's where the movie ends, just right into the sunset like in the '67 film. Except that this time, Mowgli stays in the jungle. So that's it. So you basically had the whole story, spoiler review and everything. I can't really think of anything else. I might pause it just to say anything else, but man, I think I explained every character perfectly. I think I explained everything right. So, man, this was just such a good movie. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to see this movie. I mean, to everyone, you know what I meant. This is so good. It's 11:23 right now. In a minute I'm going to do my review for Zootopia real quick, and then a movie chat of some kind, and then maybe a reaction. I know I got to do the BFG and Lego Batman and Star Wars Force Awakens stuff and all that. But anyway, let's go back to this. This was just a really good movie, and there's nothing more I can say. I think I gave the whole review. Hold on. So basically, the characters are great and everything. Jon Favreau did an amazing job at this movie. And man, there's really not much more I can say. It's just such a good movie.